how long this thing takes to.
I know there's a lag. It's like you don't know it, and then all
I
of a
know. And
sudden
then it's the three different platforms. So one will start, one won't start.
it's
Let me just make sure everybody's
the
good.
fun of technology.
I know. Isn't that crazy? The
Mhm.
conversations that it's brought on in the last year.
Yes.
Been
Yeah.
interesting. There's one. Let me check the other ones. It's been interesting to observe the conversations in the Lightworker Starseed Awaken community groups. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Which I,
Absolutely.
I started to notice more frequently in the middle of May because I got back into really putting a lot of time into Soulogy and,
Hmm.
moving forward. But it's interesting to see what people are talking about and what their stance is.
Hmm.
You can see so many things. And of course, it's a gift for us because it's us, right?
Yes.
So if something triggers you, but like somebody might say, AI is Satan, um, you know, and you know what I mean? And then
Uh-huh.
somebody might say, well, I mean, it's just all over the board. And really for me, it's just come back to, let me find you back. It's come back to, well, these circles are just like everyone else. They're just like every other circle in the world. You know what I mean? So it's that other layer of, I know we don't want to admit it, but it could be this particular moniker or name or group, organization or movement, or it could be
Hmm.
some other one.
Yeah.
And then to have kind of this subtle, unconscious, hierarchical superiority. You know what I mean? And then to see that split, and then you see another, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
always split. Everything
Yeah.
splits.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so let's formally get back into this. This is the first show today of three. We had three great shows yesterday.
Wow.
Um,
Amazing.
Kristen is in Arkansas. We've worked together before, and she's been doing really consistent work down in that area and others for a long time. I know she hosted an expo, and I don't know if it was an expo, but it was, bringing people together. I think it was online. I know
Yeah.
you were into doing that. And
Hmm.
now you've been in Hot Springs for 4 years.
Yeah.
Hot Springs, Arkansas, if you guys ever get a chance to go through there, that is a very
Yeah.
special place. To me, that's like I don't want to say like a Sedona, Shasta, but I don't want to say it's not because I've had some incredible experiences in Arkansas. We had a Soulogy Fest there in 2022, but
Hmm.
um, um, but the thing is, it's kind of under the radar. It's
Yeah.
kind of like below the surface, like unadvertised. So it's a very potent state, and and I think Hot Springs and maybe what's that other one called? The one with the funky streets.
Well, there's Mount Ida,
Starts with an
uh,
E.
the
Uh,
funky streets that start
yeah,
with an
up
E.
north.
Oh,
Yeah,
Eureka Springs.
Eureka Springs. Yeah, and then Mount
Yep.
Ida. Yeah, and there's so many places though. Even
Yeah.
even the mountain we were on
Mountain
over.
Magazine or
No, it
the
was
or in Mountain. Oh yeah, where you were. Yeah.
Ozark. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the town of Ozark. I forget the name of it now.
Hmm.
But that place was wild. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, welcome back to Soulogy. I'm anxious
Thank
to see
you.
what we can talk about and get into.
Yeah.
Been in Hot Springs for 4 years. The interesting thing for me doing these shows is seeing people years later.
Yes.
And, I kind of took drop to 10 or 12 shows a month for 2 years. And now I'm back up to, the 50. Looks like we're going to be up in the 50, 60 range again.
Incredible.
And so it's been interesting because I'm running into people like you that I connected with more than once,
Hmm.
and then to be in this new energy. And everyone that I'm looking at looks younger. They look happy.
Hmm.
They look like calm. There's not all this excitability because there was a lot of excitability in these circles for a long time because there was constant, major things happening.
Hmm.
And I think things countering those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, so how you been? What have you been doing in Hot Springs, Arkansas?
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Yeah. So the first time I was on your show was actually the first year I lived in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So I think that's
Okay.
really neat.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were you were on in 2021.
Yep.
Because I could
Hmm.
have swore when I moved over there January 2020. No, I'm sorry, in June of 2020. And I
Yeah.
thought you lived up Highway 40 somewhere because we were going to try to get together or,
Oh, yeah, no, I would drive through there
oh, that's what it
because
was.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I
that's what it
used to
was.
live up there off of off of 59.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
you were in Van
Okay.
Buren and I would go right
Yes.
through Van Buren many times.
Yes.
I did, oh, wait a minute. Maybe the first time I was on your show was
Yeah.
2000. No, I
Yeah.
was in Hot Springs. I remember the house
Were
I
you?
was in, so it had to be 21,
Okay.
but there was times before that I think we were trying to connect just because people were like, "Oh,
Yes.
we both live in the same
Yeah.
state, but and you're in the same area, so connect." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we were trying to connect before I was even on your show. So yeah. Yeah, because you're in Van
S-
Buren.
So, Hot Springs, Arkansas. I mean,
Yeah.
w- Uh, I know there's a spiritual movement there, or there's, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
a group in town. You can see it. You can see its presence, like in magazines. You can see it. I think
Yeah.
you'll see some particular shops and stuff like that. Plus the
Mhm.
crystal mines
Yes.
that are there.
Hmm.
That kind of brings something to the table.
Yeah.
How has it been for you? And I need to introduce you to a couple of people, by the way.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
yeah.
wonderful.
I've hooked up some people over there, and I just remembered. But yeah, I'll
Fantastic.
do that. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
have you found people, other crazy people, other weird people?
Yes. And more are moving here, and they've been all, and some more have been moving here in the past year and a half, the past couple years. And my first year here, I was basically more in isolation. I moved here, and when I had been guided to move here because of the beings in the lake that I was connecting with, like Metatron and Melchizedek, and the inner realms that the indigenous hold here, and they guided me to move here to work specifically with the crystalline grid and the land here. And so I moved my son and I here. And the first couple of years, I was really just to myself and connecting in with the land and sport, being more online. And I knew that there were people in groups, but I didn't really feel aligned yet at that moment to enter into them and to, be more involved in the community. And I was the only people that I really was connecting with were people that I had met through a homeschool connection because I homeschool my son. So that was that. And then after that, I just started to go, it's time to it's time to integrate. And I started coming out and meeting people. And yeah, there's amazing people that live here, and more people are coming together now than before that I've noticed. I mean, there's people that have been holding down and always having spaces that people can flow in and out of to experience, more of a spiritual connected energy. And right now, how that has grown and blossomed for me is last year, my friend and I co-created Elevate. It's a one-day metaphysical holistic event, and
Okay.
vendors, workshops, children's
Okay. I saw
area.
that. That's why
Yeah,
and
yeah.
were you involved in some stuff like that prior to, or was it just online?
That was an in-person event.
Uh,
I just actually completed my fifth online Unity Consciousness event.
Okay.
That's what I was doing online, and Elevate was in person, and I'm in the midst of organizing the next Elevate that's happening Sunday, September 28th here in Hot Springs.
Okay. Okay.
And there's so many more people that are, moving here that are guided here. So like you said, it's under the radar. And
Yeah,
I
it
feel like
is.
it's not as under the
Yeah.
radar as it was before. But there's just the more people like me, oh, I just landed here. And some people have never even knew where Arkansas was. And they're like, oh, here
Yeah.
I am. And then there was a flood of people that moved here during COVID, like from California, from New
Right.
York, from other places where I even met a person that worked at the bank that grew up in the same hometown that I grew up in New York, and it's a tiny little town, You're
Right. That's
like, what?
crazy.
That's wild.
Well, I
Yeah.
I always, I lived in Arkansas for 2 years. We had that Soulogy Fest on Mulberry Mountain at
Mulberry
the
Mountain, that's
foot
right.
of Ozark, which was a wild thing. I mean, it
Yeah.
was. I already knew because where I lived, there was a dry riverbank behind us, and I used to sit out there. And from the get-go, I was shown there was like an inner Earth dimensional kind of, I guess, gate or whatever you want to call it. Then there was a lot of stuff on the land. There was a lot of spirits on the land.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the Trail of Tears kind of thing. So there
Okay.
was a lot of that stuff going on, a lot of elementals.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I did the Soulogy Fest, when I set it up a few months before, and I stayed in Ozark for a couple of nights, I got visited by all the mountain spirits,
Yeah.
and including like these two primordial beasts that were like even scarier than dragons, you
Oh
know?
my goodness.
So there's a lot of old stuff there. But anyway, the reason I didn't mean to interrupt you, I want you to continue. But what I was going to say is part of the information that I received while I lived there and when I received at the mountain,
Yeah.
because it was involving like Atlantis, crystals that were hidden. It was involving Marble, Magazine Mountain, Mount Ida,
Yeah.
Mulberry even, you know, there was a whole storyline to it and a bunch of wild stuff happened for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I was told that as this transition continued, that once we got to the other side, to the second half of it, which I believe we have in 2025,
Yeah.
that certain places around the world and the country would start to rise in terms of the awareness of their spiritual nature, such as the Sedona or the Shasta,
Yes.
and that Arkansas was one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's specifically three points in Arkansas, and I think one was Mount Ida,
Uh-huh.
one was where you're at, and I can't remember the other one. It was a triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, and you might be noticing that too from Tiburon's work, where he did that whole.
James Tiburon, yes,
Yeah. Hmm.
yes,
And
yes,
there's more, because when I was going around to those different spots too, I was actually being shown where there was more of them that connect into that grid that are in Arkansas. And basically, it's all of, most of Arkansas, especially the central north.
yeah.
Arkansas is a massive grid system
Oh
and
yeah.
there's a lot of portals and like even up in the Ozarks that are, like Jasper and up north that way. There's a lot of caves and beings and everything that
Oh
live
yes,
there. And so
definitely.
it's not just that specific grid that
No.
does hold an energy, but there's multiple points within that and expanded from that.
Yeah.
Because I was being shown, because when I tuned into that, I'm like, that's cool, And then it was just like, it just kept showing me more and more spots that were a part of that. And I
Yeah.
went to a few of those spots where I was actually having experiences with the beings. And we actually went to one where what year was it? Maybe 22, 23, where they kind of were shifting guard. There was a lot of those years when there was a lot of like guard shifts, like
Yeah.
gateway shifts and gatekeepers that were shifting. And they were actually renewing all of the energetics that were coming through the field of Arkansas through the grid, through, all the different power spots that we're connected to, because it's like it's connected here in Arkansas and it's connected to Brazil, it's connected to
Yeah.
Tibet, it's connected to Egypt, it's connected to, all these different spots that I get shown to
Yeah.
work with from this grid here because it was one of the original placed grids on the planet as far as the
Yeah,
crystal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the same feeling of the stuff that I received. Like I said, that place that I lived in Van Buren,
Hmm.
it was a really weird place because there was like a regular subdivision,
Yeah.
and then this structure sat by itself, and
Mm.
this dry riverbed went behind it, and I had some crazy experiences there. One of them was this I guess I don't know what you would call it. It was just this like it was like this column of energy that came out of the ground. They had me go over there a couple times, build a fire, and it carried like almost like universal energies. It was
Yeah.
almost like the inside of an electric wire with all these different colored wires, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
they were showing me that it had the same type of characteristic in that regard as Sedona, because that's how Sedona has been for me. Is it's like a multi-universal, elemental,
Yeah.
galactical. I mean, it's got everything in it,
Hmm.
dark and light, Egyptian.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that, and then actually the first time I ever went to Arkansas was in 2016. I left Texas to go do this crazy stuff, right?
Hmm.
Travel around with a microphone and just do the best I could, and so it was within about a week. I went to this. It was near Ozark. It was the second exit before you get to Ozark or something like that. There was a
Yeah.
swimming hole, and a sister took me up there, and the Ozarks were in the background. and there was a
Uh-huh.
thunderstorm, and all this stuff happened, and all these beings came on the water, like
Mm,
15 beings. They were like these light beings, and
wow.
and this was witness, and all this wild stuff happened, and it was back in 2016. So I was still like, even though somebody was witnessing it, I'm still like, man, I'm crazy. But
Yeah.
I kept getting pulled back there, and I never understood why. I kept getting pulled back there. Made friends, went
Uh-huh.
like 2 or 3 or 4 years in a row, and then ended up living there. But
Yeah.
yeah, that it's and there are other power spots as well. I think that'll pop up.
Yeah,
But that's a special
absolutely.
place. It's a special place.
It is because it's really emerging, this emerging consciousness where, for whatever reason, they chose this area because I think because of the mountains and the geothermal, the hot springs, the
Mm,
water. And there's so much history here with the indigenous peoples as well, holding this space and really working with this land. And they're still here, and I know that more of them I've just been talking to some, indigenous peoples that actually live here that are like ready to bring their energy and be more in connecting with people again, and bringing
yeah,
themselves more out into the open. And I love how we've crossed these paths because my first time in Arkansas was 2016 as well.
really.
Yeah. Yeah, because my son's dad actually grew up in Arkansas. I
Yeah.
never thought I'd end up in Arkansas, right? And I came here to visit his mom because with my son because my son's grandmother had never met him yet. So I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go to Arkansas and visit her so she can meet her grandson and we can connect." And she's in Fort Smith, and so that's why I was like, "Hey, I had her all over the place. I mean, let's go to Hot Springs. Let's go to Eureka Springs, And so we were going and I was having incredible
Yeah.
experiences in each one of these locations, right? And when I was in Hot Springs for the first time, and I was like, let's go crystal digging. We went crystal digging, and I actually went to Jim Coleman's mine that's just kind of way back in the forest. And we were up in the mine, and I was digging, and I just decided to sit and rest for a moment. And all of a sudden, it was just like, at that
Mhm.
time, I was already connecting with Metatron and Melchizedek, but they just dropped right in and said, we have our respite and sometimes councils here in Lake Ouachita area, in
Yeah.
The lake itself and the crystal beneath the lake. And I was just like, whoa, and was just being shown and all these things. And then it, took a few years, but I ended up here and then was guided to move to Hot Springs. So it's just this whole land here. What I keep receiving here, I was out in the lake the other night, by myself and just connecting with the water and the elements and the crystal of the water and the land and tuning in and asking about this, this time and just really connecting because we're going through just such an accelerated experience right now. I feel like those of us, like you said, all these accelerations and things were happening, the counterbalance, and I still feel like there's a lot of interference, but we've been able to, cultivate a sense of steadiness and centeredness with it and be able to ride it, a lot better than than maybe we did
Yeah, I
before.
think it's like it's inevitable now. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah,
feels like, you know, everyone's saying,
yeah,
FAFO.
yeah,
Now, F around
yeah,
and find out. But I think it's yeah, but that's what I was
yeah,
saying. Like you
yeah,
exhibit that, you exude that. The people that I'm talking to, I guess because I have the contrast of having worked with them before,
yeah,
and you can just see the energies lightening up. You know what I mean?
yes,
And
yes,
then you're starting to compare notes about all these things that are psychic and weird and that we've talked about, but they're actually
yeah,
making sense. And so, like
yeah.
a lot of the shows that I've done too, is I'm talking to the person, we're exchanging code, but at
Yes.
a level that's not been before, right? And
Right. Yeah.
it's even like this Arkansas thing. I was
Yeah.
leaving Arkansas in May of 22,
Okay.
and I don't know where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And so it was like 2 nights before the movers came because I'm going to put all my stuff in storage. I had it in storage there for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I'm woken up in the middle of the night. You have to have a festival on top of a mountain. And and I said, well, what mountain? So next day I'm calling friends in Arkansas. "Well, what mountain? Magazine Mountain and Mount Ida." And so the movers came, and I don't know what happened. They were downstairs at that little dry riverbed, taking a break, having a smoke, whatever. I walked out there and I started talking to one of them, and it turned out that one of them worked on Mulberry Mountain, uh, doing rafting,
Oh,
like,
nice.
taking people down.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, at the top of the mountain, there's this really cool place. And it's
Uh-huh.
like 600 acres, and they got their own cell tower, and it's a family owns it. And so I went up there and booked it, right?
Yeah.
But the story goes, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because what ended up happening was, as the transmissions came in to me and other people, it was a spot. I believe it was Magazine Mountain and possibly Mount Ida or both, where after Atlantis went down, some people went to Tibet, some people went to Central America, into South America, and they were priesthoods or whatever the story is, and they took crystals, specific crystals,
Yes.
to protect in secrecy.
Yep.
And that this particular mountain, which wasn't as big as the other mountains, there was a secreted batch of crystals. So
Oh,
they didn't
nice.
just put them where everybody knew where they were going to put them. They put them
Yeah.
in other places,
Yeah.
and this was one of them. And those two beings that came finished the story, after they scared me. I'm laying in bed and I'm like, and they weren't happy. They weren't happy at all. But they weren't unhappy with me. They were unhappy for what went down.
Yeah.
And, in Atlantis. That seems to be coming up a lot. Are you picking up on any of the historical data? Is anything new coming in? What's happening? What's different for you in 2025, like personally, and what you're coming across as you interact with other people?
Yes, well, what I'm really getting, and it really started happening in maybe 2023 and 24, and I understand what they were showing me now as it's happening, like really happening, embodying, is to, even though there is that rich history, right, which is really profound and amazing, that right now those origin codes, like it's really to go, okay, here's me, here's the whole timelines, of my history as a soul on all the different levels and dimensions that I'm operating in right now and through maybe incarnation from source, is that to really focus on the origin codes, the creation codes, and go, let's see what we can do
Yes.
with time, space, experience as we're, merging with who we are now with this infinite,
Yeah.
loop cycle, circle of
Yeah.
life, where the origin is the most important thing to focus on right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of the information, maybe we get those tidbits of the history that can support us in understanding who we are. But fundamentally, it's that unity consciousness at the core of our being to
Yeah.
focus in with. Yeah.
Yeah, you and I are drinking from the same Kool-Aid, no doubt. That was a no, that was a very good description, I think. Because it's, I know, like, for the first 5 months of this year, because it really, and I keep saying this, and my soul's the one doing it, so don't blame Todd. But like the 12 years ended, the 12 years ended on December 21st, 2024, with the solstice, the
Yeah.
12-year Mayan thing,
Yeah.
and it didn't even dawn on me, right?
Yeah.
But that was 12 years. I thought it was over the year before. Things were changing so much. You thought, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But right after that, I was told, and I saw it happen, and I experienced it like
Okay.
within days. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we're on the other side now.
Uh-huh.
But for the first 5 or 6 months of the year, as people would come on the show, the common phrase would be something like, well, there's definitely something going on, but I can't tell you what it is. Like,
Yes.
I don't know how to explain it yet. And then it started to come out in June, July. But where it's kind of come to for me, as I've been able to watch the evolution as I can and have all these years, which is great because I get to sit in this seat. So you kind of put the pieces together of everyone that comes on, because there is a convergence of what they're talking about in the intel and the code that they're sharing, and how it's starting to become obvious that it's the same thing, right? And it
Yeah.
and it's simplifying. So what
Yeah.
you said, which is basically, okay, I wake up today, everything that I'm connected to, both multidimensionality, all the bells and whistles and the fun stuff, and then all the human stuff,
Yeah.
the traumas we've let go, all the stuff we've neutralized, the judgments lessening, the prejudices and biases are lessening.
Yeah.
And I'm left in this space and I'm kind of alone, but I'm composed of everything.
Yeah.
So I have like this multiple this intelligence that's me that's is better than it's ever been in this moment, and tomorrow will be better, and tomorrow will be better.
Yeah.
So what do you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what you're saying. Like, what
Yeah.
do you do with it? And you say, oh, wait, we didn't just come here to realize this. We came here to make something, create something.
Yes. Be the
And
creator.
that's what you said in like two sentences, and I said in 200. But yeah, that's really it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah.
a collaboration, co-creation element to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have said too, and this has been said over the years, and I've always felt it, in alignment with it, and that is that we've never done anything like this before.
Yeah.
This is a first in the universal. To have
Hmm.
a universally seeded species go through all of the stuff that we've gone through to come to this point now, and now we're going to get to make it's. I think, like you said, uh, aligning with rooting ourselves in the original creation codes, and then taking that and remixing it and making new code, like
Yeah.
making new code
Yeah.
by combining the ingredients of the experience that we've had
Yes.
and what we've gained from it once we neutralize and bring it all into alignment, and we're not in victim consciousness and all the stuff
Yeah.
that we've worked
Yeah.
on over the years. So it
Yeah.
feels pretty cool to me. It feels
It
like we're not swimming upstream anymore.
exactly. Yeah. Appreciate your experience with it and the way you're able to articulate it as well. And so what you're saying and what I'm gaining from what you're saying, and then also just tuning into this, it's like when we tune into the origin codes and this unity consciousness, right? Then we don't have to put so much weight on all the stuff that's happened between now and then, right? From that place. And then it
Right.
gives us that freshness. It revitalizes us, it purifies us, it brings the technology of our body temple online, and it when we just go direct, it's a direct transmission of our consciousness and our connection and our intention to say, okay, all that stuff did happen, and I'm going to put my 100% of my focus on that, so I can have all of that regenerative energy and all of that information, intelligence, wisdom, love, and connection just starts to emanate, and there's no question. Because,
Mm.
it was interesting because I was guided and I knew I wanted to do like a retreat here in Hot Springs for quite a while, right? And I got the message to do one at the beginning of this year. I got a message to do one at some point in time this year, right? And so I'm doing this embodied temple of light immersion here in October. And I was like, okay, just show me what is this? What does that mean? Because that's the name just dropped in, it's like, what does that mean? And it's like, well, it's unwinding. It's unwinding all these ideas, even some of our spiritual beliefs,
Mm.
some of these things of, what we have to do, what we don't have to do, who we are, and all of these things. And just let's just unwind from that and be in the frequency. And it doesn't have to be, any particular place or whatever. It's just like, let's be the crystalline consciousness light that we are, and sit in that for some days and see what happens. Right? See
Yes.
what happens.
No, that again, again, we're drinking from the same Kool-Aid. And not only that, this also speaks to what's been happening on the show, because the show has always been, and I know I can't be the only one,
Hmm.
because you can kind of follow the thread. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
one show turns into the next show, and there's always this continuity, but
Yeah.
it's gone like on steroids now, in a subtle way, not a
Yeah.
crazy drastic way, but
Yeah.
it's like not just what you're saying, it's the energy you're carrying
Yeah.
and the people are carrying. There's like a,
Hmm.
okay, we're on the other side now.
Yeah.
Everybody wake up. Okay, we can let that shit go, homie. And what you're speaking to, and I was looking for something I wrote yesterday. I might find it in a minute, but it's something else that I'm seeing where the badges and the medals and I was this in a past life and I can do this light language or I can do this sacred song or I have the mediumship ability. That's starting to that's starting to settle down too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
so there's is no because there was an element, and you can relate to this, and I think everybody can. You start getting some of this information, it's a challenge to the ego.
Mhm.
and not in a bad way, but in a normal, natural way. It's part of our code. It's part of the mining that we've done, the
Yeah.
farming that we've done.
Yeah.
And so we start to come out of it because, and it wasn't that we thought we were better. It was just we want to tell people,
Yeah.
like when we wake up, like, it's hard to tell my family, but they think I'm crazy or, so, so much of this show, which was so important over the years, was people to be able to come out and they can still do it
Yeah.
and say, wow, this is what happened to me and this is what I can do.
Uh-huh.
Right. But now it's different.
Hmm.
Now it's like, okay, we're sitting down at like what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
you have these people come in, and I'm just going to make a metaphor, but like there's this big table, everybody sits down, and we just kind of look at each other. Wow, look at you. Look at you, look at your makeup. And really what we're seeing is ourselves. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
that something that excitability is kind of calming down
Yes.
and I feel like I said this for years on the show and I didn't know what I was saying. You know how that works. And I'd say, I think it's possible that one day we're going to figure out that the hardest thing is going to be to get used to our natural nature.
Yes.
Those original creation codes might be a way to put it too, like to
Hmm.
to to actually go, wow, this is us. Like, are you here, homie? Is this us? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so,
Uh,
but in a nice way, in a soft way, you
yeah.
know.
Absolutely. It's like that transmission, that internal transmission and relaxing into it. And yeah, what I've been doing, it's like I think we've all been doing this over the past years is there was this big push to have an identity, a spiritual identity,
Mm,
of like who we are. I want my skill, everyone wanted their skills and abilities to come online and have this, spiritual identity. And it's like, I was always like, "Yeah, well, yes. And I know I went through it myself. I had
mm.
that part of myself,
It's
that
normal.
wanted to be somebody. And now it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, whatever,
Yeah. Let's
I
get over
am
ourselves,
somebody.
people.
I already am, so just
Yeah.
let the transmission come
Exactly.
through.
Exactly. That's
And
the creation. Yeah.
yeah. And so when what I was feeling for this, and I want to do this more and more with people, and what I've been inviting so much more is the ego to come to the table and just be a part of the transmission, be a part of it,
Right.
so that it's not afraid, so that's not going to kick and scream. It's not either or. And I think we're shifting from that duality phase of mind and going, well, it's both and because it's all here together. So how can we relate? It's just like me and you relating or us relating with anybody else.
Right.
How are you going to show up and relate and treat the energy in front of you and be in relationship with the energy in
Yeah.
front of you or inside? And so I'm like, the power of that is people's willing to sit and allow or move in whatever the activity is and move together from that intentional, centered, pure mind, pure heart, pure body, pure being space and optimize that energy frequency so it really does, like what I've been saying, flip the switch, right?
Yeah.
Flip the switch from all those conditionings and programs
Yeah.
to be this. And incredible things start to happen. Incredible things really start to
Yeah.
happen when
Because
people get going.
if you think about it, and again, you said it very eloquently, like,
Mhm.
it's everybody's relaxing.
Yeah.
So just the fact that, like the nervous system has
Yeah.
come online, the
Hmm.
body's come
Yes.
online
Yeah.
as we've come into the home stretch, let's say like
Yeah.
last year into this year,
Hmm.
it's talking,
Yeah.
like, hey man, this isn't cool, or, what I mean? But the thing is, there's this natural progression and we're
Mhm.
becoming more relaxed. So just think about that. You pull 25 of us together in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Obviously, there's going to be excitement, there's going to be soul recognition, but we sit down, break bread, and
Uh-huh.
everybody's chill. Think about the potential of
Mhm.
collaboration there, creation there. That's what it's all about. Like
Yeah.
we got stung a million times. We got killed, we got butchered, we got raped, the whole thing. We all did. It was this
Hmm.
huge thing. And so
Yeah.
and you get to the other side, and certainly you don't get to the other side to bring justice or to revenge or, carry anything with you. We'll leave that up to the you, me, we, and it, because
Yeah.
nobody knows, right? But we
Mhm.
do know we've come out on the other side. And I really feel like events, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but like I get asked to to participate in things over the years, big things, right?
Hmm.
And I have recently an on-site one on the West Coast, a really big one.
Uh-huh.
And I've always shied away. I've covered some of these things for Soulogy in the early years, when I would
Yes.
just have
Yep.
my microphone out and interview
I
people.
remember that. Yes.
They
Mhm.
let me in and I talk to people, but th these, they're, to me, they're carrying the old energy. It's like the
Yeah.
who's who of this or
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of this like aberrational, almost, I mean, aberration in the sense that, oh, well, you don't see this all the time, and this person's really special, and that person's really special. And I watch these shows sometimes, these ones that they carry, 500,000 subscribers and this, and I think, man, we talk to people like this for years, every day,
Yeah.
you know, out
Yeah.
of body experiences, alien abductions, every single thing, right down the list. It's rampant. So
Yeah.
when I look at somebody like you, and I know several people that I've run into recently, and I'm going to participate in some of these things where they're smaller, they're regional.
Yep.
I mean, bigger's not better.
Right.
And and the thing is, I've taken part in too many things that were, 5 people up to 40 people or even 80 people. They were just kind of impromptu and we just kind of wing it. And I can feel that's what's happening now.
Yes.
Like I can feel what you're saying, even though I haven't participated in it, maybe in this fashion, but
Yeah.
people coming together. And that's been the other thing this year has been when the people come on, not only is their soul attributes
Yeah.
coming through, but their human is.
Yes.
And that's like mind blowing because, you know, if there's anything besides having to get used to our natural nature, it's going to be uh, getting to the point where we actually acknowledge and recognize the shit we went through,
Yeah.
the shadows that we've come to
Mhm.
learn to embrace,
Yeah.
you know, like
Indeed.
we've owned, and as we own our shadows, we own the whole thing. And I think that speaks to the energy that you're carrying in people like you, especially those that are starting to organize collaborations and co-creations.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, it's really interesting to me because it was just a friend, and we weren't really actually friends totally. We were just more like acquaintances. We knew each other in the community that just said, "I have a vision. Help, will you help me with this vision, which was elevate?" And I was like, "Oh, okay," and then just watching how the community came together to support the experience. And then even this year, it was just like just the community reception of it and people wanting to show up, like volunteer or, here, use, we need tables and chairs, we need umbrellas, we need canopies, we need this, we need that.
Yeah.
And people just like, here,
Yeah.
use it. And it's just like that. It's just so refreshing and everybody just wanting to be together and really have this increased sense of connection,
Yeah.
and it's so nourishing, and that's the word that I've been using a lot lately is I just feel so nourished in my own being of who I'm choosing to be, but then also watching, even just
Yeah.
talking with you here, the energy just feels really nourishing to
Right.
me to go, wow, it's so refreshing. And so just to share more too, like those unity consciousness events that I've been doing online, I'm receiving, like you received to do that gathering on, the mountain. I'm receiving to start to do unity consciousness convergences to where we're just gathering on the land. I'll just go somewhere and say, who wants to show up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this, like you say, massive thing. It's just like,
No.
who wants to show up and gather? Who wants to connect? And who wants to share a transmission or share themselves or share a modality? Yes, and have
Yes.
those things, but then also it's just more aligned with community and connection and alignment and networking and because what I was saying earlier that I'm really noticing, and when I was in the water that night, I was really receiving this deep connection of, even you say these places are going to emerge,
Yes.
as these, because I'm watching and
Almost like almost like they physically rise is what I was shown.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so what I was also seeing and how that is the mechanics with that is what I was being shown some months ago, and I've been watching it over time. Especially I went to Egypt in January for the second time, and there was such a different experience. Like literally, I was watching the pyramids want to just shake everybody off. Like a dog shaking fleas off, like stop trampling
Like,
on
yeah,
me,
like
like
you're
stop.
not, yeah, almost like you're seeing me for what you think I am, not for what I am, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would sit and watch the pyramids at night because I had places that were really close to the pyramids. You can sit on the top, the belt,
Uh-huh.
the roof basically. And the energies and the beings and this, it was
Yeah.
so alive, and just they were working with the origin codes,
Yeah.
and all of these things. And from the first time that I went to the second time that I went, it was such a drastically different energetic because of the work that's being done to support that and what's happening now as those power spots. And it was really interesting too, because some months ago, even the Syrians were like, we're like, this is what I received in Egypt. The Syrians were like, we're done for a while.
Uh-huh.
Like humanity needs to figure their shit out, basically.
That's
And
what I was gonna say.
we
Yeah.
need to focus on
Yeah.
this next level frequency that's coming through to really thread in when people are ready
Right.
to tap into these origin codes and really align with the consciousness, not just what we think is there or just these
Right.
ideas
Right.
of who said what about this power spot or that power spot or this sacred spot or whatever. It's like clear the slate
Right.
and let's recognize ourself as our own sacred power spot and the
Yeah.
technology. I'm not to diminish the energy and the frequency and the intelligence that have been held in these
No, no, no. I get what
zones,
it's the
but
same
it's just
thing you're
this
saying.
energy is dispersing
Yeah.
right now through the planet
Right.
from these sacred power spots and the information so that
Yeah.
Mother Earth can be whole
Right.
again too.
Right.
Just like us, as we're not fragmented in our energy centers anymore. We are coming online as our own energy
Yeah.
center spot as we are aligning with that and allowing our bodies. And even it's the way that we treat ourselves too. What are we putting in our bodies? How are we thinking? How are we speaking to ourselves? So that our energy can become one light body again, and we're merging this consciousness. And that's what I'm watching. And it's just like, wow. And the more I think that we are connecting and sharing this, and the more that we're on the earth and the land and connecting with the elements and nature with this, just like you did with Soulogy, on the
Mm.
mountain and listening in that guidance, it's really allowing these energies
Yeah.
to really be felt even more deeply. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was you make a really good point. And you really weave it together well too, because like with what you're saying about the Syrians. I mean, I was kind of laughing because and again, these shows seem to be it's like you're talking to the same person,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just they change, they're shape shifting, right?
Yes.
And so in some of these discussions, last two or three discussions, we've been talking about this stuff, talking about the animal kingdom,
Mm.
other consciousnesses that are here on the earth. And again, I said for years, I'd be like, it's going to be funny if we find out that we're the low species on the spiritual totem pole here on the earth. Here we thought we had dominion over everything, but we're actually the last to know. And so I think there is something to be said for the Syrians' message to you, uh, and that speaks to uh, what I just said, but also to the fact that we've started to arrive here. So
Yes.
there was, again, as we were swimming against the current in those 12 years, it was a different atmosphere. There was a different dominant force.
Yeah.
And so the power points like Sedona, Shasta, and so on, yeah, important. Picking up codes, people also did
Mm.
grid work all over the world.
Yeah.
We know that now. But now, like you said, we can go to these spots
Hmm.
as we're called to.
Hmm.
But wherever we go, we're taking everything with us, and that's really what's happening now. And
Yeah.
you're right, the whole planet is
Yeah.
a portal.
Yeah.
I'm a portal. You're a portal, and it's beyond just pretty words and fluffy sayings. It's
Yeah.
actually happening,
Yeah.
and at the root of it is this pretentiousness that's leaving, the mask, the identities, the ego
Hmm.
deaths, but also at the same time a great wisdom of the value of the ego, not just in the role it played, but the role or the piece of the puzzle that it holds in our own personal monad as we move forward, which is also reflected in the collective. So it's a weird blend of human and the other parts of us.
Hmm.
And I guess the human's kind of the star of the show, basically.
Yes.
Um, but it's but like what you were talking about and what you're doing, and that's the other thing too. I really feel strongly that it's not going to be uh, evidenced by the collective experience in the sense of, okay, well, the whole world gets it today, get the memo, get the email. There's a new understanding that there's only one and we're all part of it and everybody gets it and clicks at the same time. I believe it's being done by the boots on the ground through these very physical human things. And I can speak to that a little bit because since 2016, and I'm anxious to get back doing it, up through 23, I did three Soulogy Fests, but what we used to do, and we being, I always use the term we because it's whoever's there, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I would just pull into a town and, get on social media and, maybe give a day's notice, 2 days notice, 3 days notice,
Yeah.
and tell people we're going to have a soul gathering. And
Yeah.
people would come, we'd have a microphone and a stage, we might have some music backing us up. And then that's what we would do, exactly what you said. I might do a little talking and maybe do a song or two, and then I didn't. And who wants to come up?
Yeah.
And people would come up and share their artistry, or people would come up, which was fascinating because it
Yeah.
would come out of nowhere. They would come up and testify. Hey, I was a crackhead and an addict for 12 years. I'm 32 years old now. Um, Here's my story. And you're
Wow.
just like, holy crap. Or somebody would come up and say, you know, she had this kind of like a voice condition. She
Mhm.
couldn't, kind of like RFK Jr., but
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. Okay.
And she contended with it. And it was a really weird story, right? Anyway, long story short, it turns out she had a past life where she was a witch, basically, during
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
And they were killing all the witches, and she was a mute. She
Wow.
couldn't speak and it saved her life. And she was able to continue through, no pun intended, but like oral tradition and pass it on to her sisters and daughters and stuff and keep it going. So you would just have these, but overall, what would happen is the veils would come down, the walls would come down, and
Yeah.
people would just open up and
Yeah.
be, and I really feel like this obviously is the transformation
Yeah.
and that transparency
Yeah.
beyond the authenticity, beyond the vulnerability,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
actually transparency
Yeah.
that we're finding a way to recreate.
Absolutely. And that transparency is the level of consciousness that doesn't hold anything. We don't hold on to anything anymore. And that's why that whole like focusing on that source origin to where, you know, I mean, yes, there are still going to be things that pop up, in our awareness, like, oh, yeah, that's an edge. I was just unwinding some things yesterday. It was like, ooh, some it's in my body that were like, oh, I gotta express this, oh, I don't want to
See,
hold on
there's
to
that
that
human
anymore,
part. There's that see, that's transparency right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was some anger, like there's some hurt, some old things that I was feeling. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was just, but it was intense, and it was coming up, and I was just, I was in this state of surrender because I could feel that there was something surfacing. And so I was just like, whatever it is, just show me. Whatever it is, just show me. And I just kept praying to my body and my system and my space. And it just all came up and out. And I was sitting in my meditation spot, just like letting it all, have its expression. And then this morning, what was really funny is I was tuning in and I was like, I don't even remember what
Right.
those things were. It was such a complete clearing that I was like, I
Right.
don't even remember what that anger was tied to or this or that. It was just like poof, it was gone,
That was yesterday.
Yeah, it was
See,
yesterday.
mine. I think
Yeah.
mine was the day before, and I
Okay.
talked about it on the show. You sound like like a audio recording of what I was saying, but it was the same thing. It was like I sat or laid on the bed for 6 hours
Wow.
going, what the hell? Like, and I'm going, look, if this doesn't, you know what? I mean, I'm serious. I'm a soul. I can make this choice. I can be gone. I can go. And it was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And like, what is this? And then my soul was like, look, you just need to feel this. Well, you know how to feel your emotions? Yes, I've earned that badge, right? This is different. Like this is weird. This is like I'm pissed off. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm this. I'm that. And and then I just sat with it. And I don't know how long it was. I was telling this guy yesterday. It was like I don't know. It was like a half an hour or an hour and a half. And then all of a sudden, all this gray kind of film came from the deepest, like all my joints and
Wow.
the connectors where your like tendons
Yes.
connect, and I
Yeah.
could just see it all came up, and it was gone.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then I was feeling like you just said, like, what happened? What was that? And but I could feel the lightness, and I
Yeah.
really feel like
Yeah.
that a lot of that's happening.
Yes.
So part of the reason that we're able to I don't like to use this word, like detach or move our focus to what you're exhibiting and what's happening,
Yeah.
something that you don't even have to explain because you can see it in the person,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, is because we know that network is getting strong enough that we know through this above telepathy we can feel it, that it's really
Yeah.
going down. We
Yeah.
don't have to look for that, the boogie monsters out here, and it's not even a natural thing anymore. It's
Right.
like it's leaving us.
Yes.
It's weird. It's
Yeah.
like the micro is becoming the macro and the macro is becoming the micro.
Indeed, it is. And I had this vision that day too, where I was seeing very distinctly the energy layers of life. Like, here's me in my life and, what I've been living. And then here's me at this, another version of myself. And it was so distinct. Like, there was a line of like, here's what I could keep doing,
Right.
and here's who I am. And it was just like, I just was asking. And that's what actually brought on that shift of my, that release and clearing of
This,
energy
yeah,
was, okay, here, even though it looked like a very thin line,
yeah,
I'm creating the bridge. It's like, okay, my consciousness wants that. I know
yeah,
that's what I've been, cultivating in my body, in my system, in my mind, in my experience to embody. So let's go,
yeah.
and let's bring it down, bring it up, all of it. And then it was just like, oh, this can't go with me there,
I
So
swear to
it's just
God,
like, "Pwah,"
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. And it wasn't just me. It was a one or two other people I've
Yes.
talked to on the show.
Yeah.
Because mine was the same. I said,
Yeah.
because it wasn't quite like a critical stage. And I'm like getting up and, you're coming out of dream state and
Yeah.
that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay. And it's not like we've never said this before. I'm like, okay, look,
Yeah.
just all I want to do is serve. You tell me, please tell me what you want me to do.
Show me
And
the
then
way.
it started, right? And
Yeah.
like, oh well, this has to go. And then the other part that reminded me of it, it wasn't the same words, but it was like, well, I know because it comes in and you use things that worked before, but things that you used to use don't work anymore. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so I was like, well, I know I can replace these thoughts with
Yeah.
another thought. So I'm like, oh, I'm a soul. I'm an eternal. I mean, I'm talking all this positive
Yeah.
self-talk to
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
and my soul's like, no, that's not it. No. And I said, well, I can replace this thought. And it said, oh, if you want to put it that way, all right, here's the thought. Feel this. And I'm like, I don't want to feel this. And then I start kicking and screaming, crying, hit the pillow. I'm like, why is this happening at this point after all this time?
Yeah.
It's like you're
No.
throwing it. Oh, well,
No.
I'll speak for myself. It was like I was throwing a tantrum and tired. When you're at the end of your rope, and then it lifted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all these amazing things seem to be happening in between. And these shows, for
Mm.
me, have really rooted it. They
Yeah.
just get,
Yeah.
I know it sounds corny, but like the next one's better than the next one, then it's
Yeah.
better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's like I'm talking to the same person. It's just the person shape shifting
Yeah.
each episode.
Yeah. Well, we were receiving too that solar flare energy that went off on the
Yeah.
30th. And what I was seeing was these codes coming in, and I saw the codes coming in from the center of Earth and the sun to directly move through and basically part the waves of the interference that
Mm.
actually was taking place at the time during the over this weekend and past days of, funny things going on in the news and stuff. It was like, no, okay, we need to directly impact,
Mm.
people's consciousness right now with some codes to go, okay, let's clear that and get people reconnected with themselves on this next octave so that we're not getting embedded or encoded with some of this energy that is, being artificially
Yeah.
and directed, into our consciousness right now. And so I
Yeah.
saw that as a direct relationship. And I wanted to share something too, that going to the conversation of, the power spots and the master crystals and things like that. And I've been watching this over time of the lands actually surrendering the master crystals back to the origin codes and the crystalline consciousness and the pre-mu origin codes so that they're not being held in the same spots on these lands anymore. And I was watching that through this, through Arkansas, and I was watching it through all these different, Apus, the mountains, and different things saying, okay, it all needs to come back together. So it's kind of like the dark crystal, that movie is we got to put the shard back in the
Right.
original crystal.
Right.
And so,
Yeah, that's what happened in Mulberry Mountain. That's what they
uh-huh.
said. They said that,
Yeah.
those crystals were put there
Uh-huh.
for safekeeping, and then like the
Yep.
ones in Mulberry that we released
Yeah.
were secreted from that one, and that they had to all go eventually. It wasn't happening right then,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it feels like the same thing you're talking about, where
Yes.
everything's being put back into it, and it would make sense.
Yeah.
It'd be like a machine, like a
Yeah.
motor, and you take all the
Yeah.
pieces and you move them around, then you got to put it
Yeah.
all back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with us, right? We're all coming back together into our own self.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening. I've watched several of them already, from this state and others, just even the sun discs and stuff, just going back into the center to where it's not fragmented anymore. And so I'm actually feeling the shift in this land. And I actually got this feeling not too long ago of going, am I going to stay here in Hot Springs, Arkansas? Because the energy is shifting
Yeah.
and and maybe I will, maybe I won't. I
Yeah.
don't. I only know when it's ready to go, because I've traveled and
I know
lived
it's
off of my guidance. It's just like, oh, but the thought came through because I saw a lot of the crystals go into the center
yeah.
again, re-merge with its wholeness. And so I just felt the dynamics of this energy of this place shift really intensely. And it's been happening, that's what I was being shown when I went to Egypt in January. It was like, this is what needs to happen, and it's going to start to happen now.
Right. Right.
And so it's been really fascinating to go, oh, we don't need to, like I was saying, even though I get called to go to certain areas, but what I was hearing is that if we do these, Unity Consciousness Convergence, or you do more Soulogy Fest and stuff like
Right.
that, like you said, you just go where you're guided, and it
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to be a big sacred power center that we've thought, because it's really just communing with the land and with people, and we're going to get called to go where the pockets are ready
Yeah.
to come online,
Yeah.
with this
And
dispersed
whether it's
energy.
whether it's a more of a temporary thing or a permanent thing, that doesn't even make sense now, because
Nope.
that's another thing that's
Mhm.
happening, and it's
Yeah.
beyond the words and the
Yeah.
new ageisms. It's actually this presence that you're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
is real.
Yeah.
And I remember, and you're right too, because look, I'm here. A lot of people have been, by force or by flow, found themselves geographically repositioned over the last year and a half,
Yeah.
even more than once.
Yeah.
And so there's something to be said for that.
Yes.
And like, I came here, and I'm in this little authentic Mexican town, which is not commercial. It's away from the tourism, and it's like I woke up here. It was like a fluke, and in a way, and I'm by myself the whole summer, and it's going through all these changes you were talking about. Everyone's been going through the fires of purification. I don't care who you are. This
Yeah.
summer's been hot, and it's not over, and September is who
Yes.
knows.
Ooh,
But
lit
anyway,
up.
so you walk around and you go, wow, and then my soul will come in and say, look at this place, look at all these dogs running around. They don't have any collars. They're all friendly.
Hmm.
Look at the way the community runs. Look at all these fans. I mean, it's just like I'm looking at it going, this isn't
Yeah.
even. I didn't even know this kind of stuff, in the world. Yeah, I thought you'd have to go to like some village in, some isolated area in South America or Africa to find this type,
Hmm.
or Aboriginal village or something.
Yeah.
But so it was the same thing, and I'm supposed to leave October the 15th, and my obligation is up then, and every now and then it'll come in and go, well, how do you know where you're going?
Yeah.
Don't be making all these plans. Well, I'm just thinking I'm going to go back to Texas and go to Houston, take care of some stuff, hit the road,
Yeah.
and kind of do what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, and it's not, I don't know if it's not so much because I'm gonna be here or not gonna be here, but to let go of everything is to let go
Yes.
of everything so you can
Yeah.
see the crystal clear
Hmm.
path that
Hmm.
unfolds for you, that's most meant for you,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then the other thing too, I really feel to restate this about Arkansas, because there were two factors. There was the James Tilbrion, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
There was that one, but there was another one.
Yeah.
There was another one that came out, and somebody from Europe sent it to me.
Yeah.
And it had to do, there was actually two other
Yeah.
ones. One had to do with the book of Enoch
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah.
this time, and that I
Mhm.
believe it was a dove, okay,
Yes. Yep.
the heart being in Arkansas. Another one had to do with this narrative, and I respect everybody's reality. I think it's all code, it's all metaphor, it's all
Hmm.
information meant for us
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
paint from a bigger palette.
Yeah.
And this one had to do with the Noah's Ark, and that
Uh-huh.
Noah's Ark was actually many arks, and there were these discs buried
Hmm.
around the world in
Hmm.
certain high
Yeah.
places, a lot like the story about the crystals, hiding the crystals until the time was right.
Uh-huh.
So one of those was there, and I swear that area was hot springs up to like Eureka Springs or Mount Ida or one of those, and then over to the southwest, maybe right up to the Fort Smith area, something like that, a big
Uh-huh.
area,
Yeah.
and that there would be a reemergence of communal living. That it was that again, it was a PowerPoint of the new Earth, something like that. So I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if you're
Yeah.
over there, on one of the councils,
Oh yeah.
redevelop,
Oh yeah.
bringing back the old world.
Definitely been on several galactic and intergalactic councils, definitely working with the Sirians and the Andromedans and the Pleiadians and Arcturians and all of that to support this anchoring of this energy through this place right here, right now. But also, what really fascinated me is, this whole idea of locations on the planet, right? But
Right.
also recognizing, just like us, we have a center channel and it goes into the center of the earth, it goes to source, it goes. So then what's the point that hot springs moves through the planet? Where is it
Mhm.
connecting through its center channel into the, say, the center of the earth, but the other side of the earth, the antipode? And it's in the Indian Ocean, like almost directly between South Africa and Australia. And so I was like, ooh, what is that energy and what was that energy in the original land mass,
Uh-huh.
of this planet? And when I tune into that, what I'm receiving as I tune into that and the access of that in the orbit, just like thinking of all of us, we're all in orbit, in our own energetic electromagnetic field. And so is each point on the planet. Everything has its own, energetic frequency in orbit. And so if that's its orbit, right, an axis through the center, I connected into the ocean and the land and underneath, and it was really telling of these codes of the ancient ones that are ready to come forth. And that's why, this spot in particular has that. It's just because there's a very specific frequency and energy of the ancient ones that are the artifacts, the civilization is still alive in that part of the world in the
Yeah.
dimensions of the ocean and the
Yeah.
interdimensional of the inner earth in that spot.
Yeah.
And it really is that Syrian energy
Yeah.
that's coming forth, right? And so it's really, so because it was really fascinating for me when people are saying Atlantis, Atlantis, and I'm like, actually, it's pre-Atlantis.
Well,
Arkansas is pre-Atlantis, it's
yeah, it's
pre all of that. And so I
right,
was tuning in and it was like, it's because I work with the pre-Mu origin codes. It's like before, it's like the origin codes of the origin codes, right?
right,
And
right.
so, and it doesn't matter what I work, everyone's going to have their own experience. So I'm just sharing my experience. I'm just one spoke on the wheel of creation, right? So it's just how
Yeah,
I'm
but
seeing
you're
it, experiencing it,
but the thing
right?
is yeah, everyone has an intricate piece. I mean,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
whole without
Yeah.
any of our piece. So I
Yeah.
really feel like these individual, um, these individual life paths, I guess, that we've taken, that we've honored. We've all listened to that crazy little voice.
Yeah.
See, and I can't prove my crazy little voice to you, and you can't prove yours to me. But yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you're saying. That's new information for me, and that's what I like to find out because again, it triggers other things. Like I remember when I was in Arkansas and
Hmm.
I didn't do through the whatever you call that, like through the earth point, but I did it
Hmm.
through the longitude and latitudes and the numbers.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it ended up being in southern Australia. So
Uh-huh.
I did the same thing. I mean, it's
Nice.
amazing how
Yeah.
people, tap into the different things. And so listening to your story too, because again, I'm talking to people, and then all of a sudden, all these little dots connect. So I
Yeah.
can remember 2 summers ago with the seals on a bay in Washington.
Oh,
37 seals came to me at the
wow.
1 o'clock in the morning on a pier, and
Wow.
I couldn't understand everything. But you know how as time goes on, you start to
Yeah.
pick it up.
Yeah.
Well, I knew they were getting me ready for what it would be Mexico and being on
Yeah.
bays there, and then
Hmm.
having encounters there
Yeah.
and so on. But it was very Syrian based. It was not just seals, it was whales, it
Oof.
was
Yeah.
dolphins. Uh, Even about a week and a half ago, I went out to this bay because I tried to go every day or night, and I got this distinct thing about these sirens, two sirens.
Wow.
And it was kind of dark, but I
Yeah.
could see them. They were almost like synchronized swimmers. I
Mm.
couldn't tell, it was, and I'll say it was third eye,
Yeah.
but third eye in the sense that it was coming through telepathically. I
Yeah.
know, again, I can only speak for myself,
Yeah.
and that was new. And they were like in glee. They
Hmm.
were like, we've just crossed this threshold. We've just went over another, jumped through another hoop of fire, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that it's bringing up for me too is there was myself and I want to say two other people, maybe three in the last, I would say like 5 to 10 days ago. And our dreams were very similar, right? It just happened to share them. And even though it was kind of a galactic thing, it feels the same. And what it really came down to was, well, I'll tell you what mine was. It was like we were on this ship. We were all dressed in white. We were all like getting ready to go perform
Yeah.
something that we had mastered, almost like putting on a production. And
Mm.
nobody was nervous. And it was reminding me of that 7 mile UFO that's coming that they say is going to be here November, December. Not that I thought it was that. I was just saying, no, that was like a metaphor.
Yeah.
It was like these aspects of us were coming to unite with these aspects of us.
Yeah.
And I took that to mean consciousness. But
Yes.
what you're bringing up, 4,000 shows, and I've had a lot of experience on a personal level over the years with the inner earth and
Hmm.
to some degree with the oceans and
Okay.
whatever that
Yeah.
we don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
95% of it, we don't have no idea.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it feels like that that's happened, that's coming up. Like the inner earth consciousness or beings
Yes.
to include the ocean, because there's
Yeah.
more water here than anything. It's a water planet. Is
Hmm.
that consciousness, all that stuff is coming out now. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
and so it's not just the above,
Yeah.
it's the below.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that you kind of are alluding to, at least for me, is that yes, I can be here or you can be there, and we stay open and don't press anything. Will be shown, But the truth is, we're taking everywhere we've been with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
Oh,
or
yeah.
even like say you call me up tonight and say, hey, we're all going to go to the top of Mount Everest. Meet you there in 10 minutes. Bring a
Yeah.
coat.
Yeah.
We can actually go tap in and then,
Yes.
and people have done this. We know
Yep.
this, but,
Hmm.
but there's something to where these weirdo things are going to become mainstream, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the fun part, I think, that we're coming into is all this discovery, and this discovery and the willingness to step into these, consciousnesses of ourself where we recognize our wholeness. We really take it in. And because I think a part of the path, the spiritual path sometimes can dwell in duality too, of like, I'm this now and I have to be that. I have to become that.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to
It's like
awaken, or I have to
spiritual
do
people
this.
don't get angry.
Right. It's like, no,
Stuff
let's
like
live in
that. It's like, what the
wholeness.
hell are you talking about?
Exactly. Where all of those things can
Yeah.
coexist
Yeah.
so that we are whole everywhere that we are. And so that code that we are embodying can have a space to express through that's more empowered and connected when we are in our wholeness. And I think that's, we've been going through these purifications to recognize that, yeah, you know, the purification can go on forever and ever, but what are we really going to focus on? And I feel like what we're being asked to right now is like, yeah, we had to focus on getting through some of that stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
like so we could get clear enough to go, now that I'm clear enough, yeah, some of that stuff may still exist, but I don't have to dwell on it.
Yeah.
And what frequency, what qualities, what essences do we really want to keep our intention and attention on for as much as most of the day as possible,
Yeah.
right? And what happens when you do that? The power, the magnetism, the like you say, that calmness, because there's not an urgency to have to do anything else but be,
Yeah.
be in that frequency. And then it's easier to tap into those places and allow those codes to have a pathway of expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like now.
Yeah. Yeah, just like now.
I was looking at the clock. I'm going, we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. It seems like it's been like 15 minutes, but
Yeah.
I had this lady on the other day I just met through a friend of mine, and she had an interesting story like everybody, but when she got the download, her wake up,
Hmm.
part of her purpose was you need to go become a hypnotist.
Uh-huh.
So we started having this conversation about hypnotherapy, and I said, is there some people you can't hypnotize? Because I've never really understood if I've been hit, I've had friends try and then we started talking about meditation and communion,
Hmm.
and she said that's hypnotism.
Yeah.
You're hypnotized. And I said, okay, now I understand after
Yeah.
all these years
Yeah.
that that's what the state that they're talking about. So one of the things she said to me was, well, have you ever got in the car and you're going to drive 3 hours and you get in the car and then the next thing you know, you're pulling off at the last exit and
Yeah.
the whole time you were, you self
Yeah.
hypnosis basically. So it's just another word for, but
Yeah.
I think the reason I bring that up is because that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like you get lost in the moment, so to speak. But I think it's a greater pronouncement of presence. And
Yes.
for me, I feel like, look, we came into this thing, whatever we came into this thing with,
Yeah.
we're leaving with. Okay, we
Yeah.
know that. So I say I am soul, I am sacred union, I am Trinity, and I know there's a whole bunch of more math after that, but I
Yeah.
that's enough for me, right? But then we have this experience, and this experience is waking up from the experience and then putting all the dots together and connecting it back to those original creation codes you're talking about. Almost
Yeah.
like there is no place to go. It was always the foundation of
Mhm.
this reality, and every reality we just put these overlays on top of it,
Yeah.
and here we are. But there's something about this mission. I think there's many things about this mission that are unique, but I think the main thing is because obviously there's always the base element of personal growth and therefore collective growth,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
But to do it with someone else, even if for a moment, even if for an
Yeah.
hour and a half,
Yeah.
regardless of the setting, to actually get into a space where you open up and you're both in that space. and
Mhm.
you look up and go, where the hell did, 2 hours just go,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the middle of all that, kind of like what you were talking about with the shedding thing yesterday, you get to the other side and say, well, what just happened? Like what am I taking away from this? And it's beyond a comprehensible
Yeah.
verbalization, old school, old paradigm kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just permeated through all of it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of an indicator or reflective of the consciousness in its evolution. And then that's a poor description because, I don't feel like we can touch it yet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like saying, this is what my soul tells me, shut the fuck up and just go do it. You know,
Exactly.
stop thinking, get out of
Exactly.
your way, get over
Yeah.
yourself and just go play. And that's what it
Yes.
feels like. It
Yes.
feels lighter and lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, for me, it's been such a blast because I'm seeing I'm seeing myself in others,
Mm-hmm.
like today, like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing myself in others. I'm seeing the other, but I'm seeing myself. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it used to be, oh, he does that, and she does that, and da
Yeah.
da da da, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
gone.
It's
It's
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually gone.
It's powerful, isn't it? And one of the things that I'm being called to share is that, when we're talking about these original codes, it's fascinating because it's not in the past.
Mm,
Like you said, everything that is, will be, and has been is here now, right? And that's like the old mystic tradition and powerful remembrance that the origin codes are within every cell of our body,
mm,
within every fabric of our being, within every weaving of our energy body. It is here, it is now. And when we tap into that, we're not just tapping into the origin codes of creation that, happened this long time ago, whatever it is, if we want to talk time distance, it's also the future.
yeah,
It's the original coding of life itself that has its full expression. And we get to tap into those light codes, those beings. And that's what I'm being guided to do for this time in October here, the embodied temple of light immersion is go, let's have our energy disperse into this one field of light where we recognize ourself as the whole light being that we are, past, present, future. And what can
yeah,
happen when we do that? It's like everything turns on and there's nothing really else to do.
yeah,
And we are that playful creator. It's like, okay, here's life. What do we get to
yeah.
do today? Right? Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
I know, and it sounds crazy, but you're right. It's like, you could look at it like, okay, we're on a trajectory that ultimately will reach a state of presence with an ing on the end. Okay, because it's
Yes.
not, oh, we've arrived. No, we're
Oh,
arrived, or
presencing. Yeah.
it's a constant thing. But that it's like my soul's talking to your soul.
Yeah.
It's like we're
Yeah.
we're in the spirit flesh, and
Mhm.
and it's and that's what's happening. uh,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really weak description because these interactions, all of it, the whole experience, the human, and I don't mean the old human in any derogatory sense.
Right.
I mean the human divine, the
Yes.
human that says, I am
I
God.
am.
I am that. I am soul. I am the goddess. I am mother goddess. I'm the child of her. I'm made in the image.
Yeah.
And we're in the flesh,
Hmm.
and there are certain attributes that are turning on,
Hmm.
that are even beyond our wildest, imagination, or certainly our comprehension.
Yeah.
So, regeneration. Why are the people that are coming on that I've worked with in the past, including you, like I said at the top of the show, why do they look 10 years younger?
Hmm.
So I'm looking at the energy that they are, not because I'm trying to, or not because I
Yeah.
have some kind of great aptitude,
Mhm.
because this is the new. And there's, I can tell, like when you move, like I move my hands and the light might change or whatever. But as you sit there, and this isn't the first time, there's this green, like, and it's almost like a, a shape, almost like a roof, but it's not. It's almost like a crown or something,
Yeah.
like a crown or a cape. it's green and it's pulsating from time to time coming out of you. And
Oh,
I've seen the same things happen over the years, but it's
uh-huh.
happening with much more frequency on the show for me now, you
Mm.
know?
Wow, beautiful.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
this whole experience, and I love what you say about creation codes because you're right. We have it. It's there.
Hmm.
It's the center of the cells in each one of our cells. You know what I mean? Each
Yeah.
atom. It's
Yeah.
always there, and it's coming out to play. And we
Yeah.
get to be human beings, and I love the
Yeah.
fact that we can laugh at it because that's how it's working for me.
Hmm.
I'll get an
Hmm.
epiphany. I'll go, God, you were stupid. And then I'll laugh about it and go, oh my God, it's not even,
Yeah.
it brought me this. And
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
you're in that lightness of being and yeah, wisdom
Yeah.
in the form of humor and laughing is to me the best.
Absolutely. And your face is more refreshed too, and it's nice. Your
Well,
energy's more refreshed, calmer. And as we were sitting here, I got taken to like extrapolate out to a bigger vision of field instead of just like looking at you and speaking and just looking at the space. Because I've been tuning into other, I can feel other people as they're listening and kind of the feelings and
mm,
the things that are happening. But it all of a sudden was just shown how right now there's just even us connecting all of our consciousness, all of you listening in this space, and maybe those who listen to the recording afterwards will tap into this.
yeah,
It's like I can feel the elevation of the coding happening in everybody right now. And I was just shown this beautiful grid of all of us on all the lands that we're upon, just like,
right.
really, really amplifying and stabilizing, this frequency. And so thank you.
Yeah,
It's beautiful that you have this space for us to come in and commune and how relaxed of a conversation, the free flowing conversation that it is, and that everyone gets to, drop into this presence. And
thank you.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, yeah, you just said everything. I think I should have just shut up the whole time, let you talk because I mean,
It's okay.
but I'm finding this, and maybe it's just me, but like even what you described, like what you described,
Hmm.
I've watched this since 20, I started doing these in 2016, late
Uh-huh.
2016. I'm sorry, by summer 2016. I mean, I probably did like 400 by, not very many, like 400 by, I'm talking about the talk show,
Yeah.
by the middle of 2018, right? And then it
Uh-huh.
really took off.
Hmm.
But I've been able to do what you are talking about. Like I could feel the field of those watching and those that will watch. And that's why I was talking about the symmetry
Yeah.
of watching this collective thread through the best seat in the universe for me, So
Yeah.
now it's really cool that people pick up on this, and there's something changing, and that's why I feel so revitalized doing this. I've originally came back. I really burned out at the end of 23, and I was like, man, I'm done. Like stick a
Yeah.
fork in my ass. I mean, I'm done. I don't think I can ever go back. I mean, I can't handle the weight of it.
Yeah.
But this year the drums started to slow, boom, boom.
Hmm.
When the soul starts
Yeah.
going, you're like, oh man, here we go. And
Hmm.
then now I'm like, thinking, okay, well, I'll do 5 a week, but now I know I want to go do 15. I
Yeah.
want to get this ball rolling. I feel like it's and not because of me or it's about me or Soulogy, but because of what you're talking about. I feel
Yeah.
like this energy is saying to us what it says, what my soul says to me, shut the F up, get out of the way, get over yourself and actualize it. Because as
Yes.
you actualize it, especially if you're doing it with others, it
Yes.
expands and what you were visualizing is
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. You know
Yes,
what I mean? So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it was interesting because when you messaged me, I was like, oh, okay. I feel, because I just messaged you and I was like, here I am, whatever, and I was just, put it out to the universe, right? And then let go. And when you messaged me this weekend, it was like, it felt like it dropped right
mm,
at the most uh, poignant time that it could have. And especially this morning, I did my podcast with Vivian Chauvet. and
Okay.
we were bringing in the Arcturian energy, and I got a transmission and activation while we were talking. It was like, oh, because she stopped talking. She's like, "Are you okay?" Like I was like, she's like, "Oh, you're doing what's going on over there?" I'm like, "Whoa, I just
This
got."
is the stuff we used to do in the pyramids. Now we can do it like
Yeah,
this.
I know exactly. It's just like it's we don't need to go anywhere. Just be with
Uh,
ourselves, right? And or be with each other and
right.
allow this. And so when you were offering the dates, I was like, oh, that's going to be an incredible thread
Yeah.
for I think consciousness to do have that conversation with her and then connect with
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
so I just saw this brilliant weaving, and then I've been looking at your shirt in your background too because there's the water, and
Uh,
I know a lot of people, the water codes are coming online a lot
yes.
with people, and that's why I've been going to the water as much as possible. And then your shirt has the wheel, right? Like the helm of the wheel
Yeah.
and all the ropes. And I'm like, it's like the universe, like,
You
take the
see, you
wheel,
can't make
ride the
this shift
wave,
up.
weave
You
all these
can't.
strands of consciousness.
Right? And we used to say, "Oh, look at that. Look at that synchronicity." See, I noticed this at the beginning of this year. After the solstice thing happened, I started to notice, and I call them physical synchronicities. Like we used to see the numbers all the time, right? 1111 and da 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 da. But then this has become like, and it'll happen. Like say, I did a show 8 days ago, and after that, it was an extraordinary show. The guy's coming on once a week now.
Wow.
Really extraordinary. Like the depth of his stuff is not the same topic, but it's similar to Franco was, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
right after that show happened, there was like 3 or 4 encounters with people, kind of like this, that all kind of were like they all came out, and then all of a sudden they went click, you know, a
Uh-huh.
physical synchronicity, like confirmation in the flow and in the physical experience, as
Yeah.
opposed to signs. There's signs. Talk about embodiment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that would be another way to look at it. You okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to. Well, first of all, how can people get in touch with you, and what do you have, if any, offerings in terms of like distance healing or any kind of distance exchange, and what do you have coming up? I know you mentioned this event in October, and
Yeah.
anything beyond that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, sorry, my son needed something,
Oh,
so
that's okay.
I was just talking to him for a second.
Yeah.
Um, thank you for asking. Yeah, and I love how that's weaving because right when you said I had this energy drop in, maybe that's why you're like, are you okay? Because again, I was like, I just felt this energy drop in of that consciousness of those people that you were connecting with and that clicked into place. It was like, oh yeah, I could really sense and I just felt, Franco's consciousness come in there for a minute and
Yeah.
just sit with us and ooh, tears are coming to my eyes. But yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, just the codes that he was carrying and just the codes that are now coming online that he was really holding and bringing in. And now it's like that
Yeah.
celebration of,
Yeah, that's doesn't surprise me because yesterday, after that happened to me, what happened? What happened to you? Oh, it happened to me yesterday. I thought
yeah,
it was two
it
days ago.
feels
No,
like it's
it
longer,
was
but it was
it was the
yesterday
same
morning.
time. So it was the same time. So once I came out of that 4 to 6 hour thing, sitting and laying on the bed and being a little brat, uh, I went into like my soul took over, and I'm putting posts up, and I mean I did yeoman's work, and I did 2 shows,
Yeah.
but a big part of it was Franco. And I even went
Mm,
and did a post about him and put a picture up of him from the Soulogy Fest. And see, he still comes. He came this morning. He obviously was here yesterday. But he came when he transitioned. He came the night he transitioned. I was in Arkansas. I was
mm,
living in Arkansas. Blue light came on and all this stuff happened. I won't go into it, but
yeah.
and then he came a few times. I would say like, I want to say like in the first um, year and a half, 2 years, he would come at these times. Like he would come at these pivotal times. And the post I wrote is one of the things he told me shortly after he transitioned. And to me, it was the most profound thing because it really messed me up. he said, when you, as you get there, all of us, everything that you thought was true is not.
Yes.
Every belief that you have, that's where he got me. He's like,
Yeah.
everything you believe, every single thing
Yeah.
will not be there.
Absolutely.
And he wasn't saying that everything's a lie in the sense that we look at it from our human, like, oh, everyone's lying, they're out to get us. It was more of um, a grand awakening or grand, revelation so huge that these things weren't even relevant, basically,
Yes,
other
absolutely.
than when they occurred. And
Yeah.
that was that to me was the most profound thing he told me. And so I noticed, like, the beginning of this year, I started telling, whoever I was talking to, the things that we've worried about in short term, we're not going to even be thinking about anymore,
Uh-huh.
and that's what it feels like to me. It,
Yeah.
it's like multiple layers, streams, I guess,
Yes.
of the most subtle things, on the border of unconscious, because nothing's really unconscious as we proceed, because we're
Mhm.
picking up on everything. Although, to me, that's where you talk about, there will be no lies, the truth's rising. It's that we're at such a level of telepathy, nobody can lie. But by the same token, everybody knows everything about everybody.
Yeah, and that's the transparency, and that's where we live in that purified state of being where
Mm,
there is nothing to hide because we're just being our pure self, right?
yeah,
And we can be okay with, and I think that's where we're coming online, like you were saying earlier, is no judge, the judgments, the prejudice, all this. It's kind of like when we're in that state, then when we have something come up
yeah,
for ourselves or something else comes up with somebody else, and we watch them behave in maybe a way that we're like, whoa, that was interesting. It's not a judgment. It's more like, wow, what's going on? What's
yeah,
happening? Are you
yeah,
okay? Like, what's happening?
yeah,
And that's where we get to commune and come together
yeah,
and go and have that compassion and understanding because it happens to us too.
yeah,
And that's where that transparency, unity consciousness comes in. Like even when I have something that comes up and it feels really intense, in the past, it might have just taken me over and it's just like, wow,
yeah, of
and
course.
now I'm watching it and interacting with it. Like, yes, we're getting through this. Yes, this is a
Mm,
part of what's happening through my consciousness, maybe my emotions, my challenges, whatever right now. And I know there'll come a time when I'm through this. And so I'm going to play with that energy of I'm in it now. There's a passage through it. I'm going to be in that energy of the passage through it so that I can meet it with my utmost presence and grace and honor for what it is
right,
and then bridge that gap, right? And I think that's where we're at right now. And just Franco was dropping in for a second, and and right before you were sharing what he shared with you, he's like become the mirror. It's like become the reflection. And when that's the reversal, right? And I think that's why the water codes, and he was just showing me too, and you're so funny you have all this water theme going on today is like why all these water codes are turning on so much right now because that shows us, we can look into water and see our reflection. And it's that whole mental emotional field of movement, of flow, of, we can crystallize. It really crystallizes whatever frequency we're putting into it, right? Or whatever's being put into it. And we have that ability as us being mostly water and crystalline structure to be like, okay, if I become the reflection, because if I keep seeing myself as this other thing, then just become the reflection.
yeah,
And that's the
exactly.
reversal of what's happening on this planet. Like I know he was really working with the reversal of,
Yeah,
the reversal, right? Reversing the reversal. And so he just said, become the mirror. That's what he
yeah,
wanted me to say. And so I know
yeah.
people will get that as they get that. But
No,
yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
do, I do, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Thank you, Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because I got yesterday, and again, the memory thing, like,
Yeah.
so it was either yesterday or it was the day before, and for some reason I started connecting with him, and
Hmm.
we were very close. I
Yeah.
mean, I can't even hardly go there, but my point is that he's stepping in for a reason now. And I've
Yeah.
noticed as I'm talking to other people, like when I put that post up, a very good friend of mine that lives here in Mexico, who's been integral, uh, she wrote, he came in my dream last night. And so, like, there's some kind of continuity.
Yeah.
And I could go into a whole, I should probably, some of the things that have happened since he transitioned, some of the things that he shared with me. Some of the things that people shared with me that worked with him. But
Hmm.
can you hang on and because I don't want to keep you any longer. I got to do two more shows, but I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
want to speak with you real quick off camera.
Yeah, can
Okay.
I share a little bit about how to reach me and then we
Oh
can
yeah, yeah. I
Right.
forgot. That's my
It's
fault. Go
okay.
ahead.
It's okay because Franco came in. Thank you, Franco. And he's still
Yeah.
here and we'll talk. So, yeah. Um, so I appreciate, of course, Todd always being with you and the connection in the
Mm.
field that we get to create. And so if you'd like to connect with me, you can go to awakenedsoul.net. And yes, there's still space. There's a few spots left in the Embodied Temple of Light immersion that's happening here in Hot Springs. And yes, we are going to tap into that pure code of the crystal that is here and embody our pure crystalline codes of ourself through that. So if you want to look at that, it's going to be October 8th through the 14th. Come visit me. You can go to
Oh wow.
awakensoul.net, go on to events, and then you'll see the Embodied Temple of Light immersion there, or it'll be at the top of the screen as well.
October, so it's going to be 6 days.
Yeah, we're gonna go
Wow.
deep. We're gonna go.
So is it like a retreat then?
Yep,
Okay. So, people will
yep.
be coming in even like hotels and stuff like that.
Well, I have a place for us. We're all gonna stay in the same place.
Oh,
We're
wow.
gonna stay in the same house and create our container, create our frequency, and stay in
Man,
that
if I was over
together.
there, I would talk you into letting me come do a reality retreat. Let me
We
record
can
this.
do that for the unity consciousness convergence, or you can, if you want to come to that, come to that. That would be great. That'd be
Well, we'll
awesome.
talk. We'll talk.
But
That's yeah.
yeah,
We'll talk
yeah.
offline because
Yeah, and so if
there's a time.
anyone
There's
is,
yeah.
yeah, and so if anyone is in the area, so yeah, Embodied Temple of Light immersion, October 8th through the 14th, we're gonna light it up and embody and anchor in and get calm and peaceful and restful in our nerve system as well, to make the space for our frequency to land and be able to embody and walk with that in life and all that we do. And then if anyone here just wants to come to a one-day event, if you're around Texas or any of that, and you can drive in, Elevate, September 28th, Sunday, September 28th, it's 10 to 6, a one-day community event and you can bring your families. There's going to be a whole children's area with activities, going to be workshops and music and dance and it's yoga. It's going to be great. So that'll be happening. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm this Friday, even if you just want a one-day workshop online, I'm doing Connect with Your True Voice. We're going to work a lot with our reclaiming our power and our expression so we can do this more and more
And
with
and
our
where do they find this stuff on your Facebook page?
it'll be on awakensoul.net.
Okay,
My
Awaken Soul.
Facebook page, Awaken Soul Facebook page on Facebook. It can be awakensoul.net website. I also have a YouTube channel where I put up a lot of lives, and podcasts. You can go to Awaken Soul with Kristen on YouTube and check
Uh,
out. Yeah,
why don't you either send me all your links,
yep,
or
I can do it.
or you can put them on the. I just put awakensoul.net. I hope that worked.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Hmm.
and no, what I mean is like if you could put send me your links like in a message,
Yep.
and or you could put all your links on the comments on Facebook, and then I'll take those links and put them on YouTube and put them on X.
Fantastic. I will do so. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Franco. Blessings of peace, love, and grace to you and your son and all your family and loved ones and everything you're getting into. I would love to get together with you again and do this again. It feels right. And thank
Absolutely.
you for your service to humanity, your commitment, your devotion, your love, and your energy. And we will love to see you come back.